Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to What in the Lore. My name is Ostara,
My name is Cinna, aka Cinnabon, Angry Cinnabon.
and we've got a guest today.
Yeah, we have a really special guest because of the topic we're talking
Yeah,
about. So today we're going to be covering the Sky Pirates.
and
And who
everything,
better
every
to talk about the Sky Pirates?
than
It's
Sky.
me, Chugga Conroy.
No, you're not Chugga Conroy.
You
I
are.
You
wish
wish
I
you made
was.
half the money that Chugga Conroy makes.
Yeah. You right?
You right. It's Sky PG. Sky. That
The
dude.
person who gets mistaken for Skype when you search Sky PG on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that does happen.
It's great.
So we're going to be talking about the Sky Pirates and touching a little bit on the War of the Magi, I guess.
Yeah, pretty
Magi?
much.
Is it Magi or Magi?
Fuck if I know. It's pretty much anything involving that whole quest chain from Heaven's Ward.
If you're watching the video and not just listening, you'll be seeing either Void Ark, Weeping City, or Dune Sky, and I'm not sure which yet because it's mixed bag, my friends. It'll just be me, your bard
Yeah.
guide for the day.
Cinna's running around in there, where Sky and I are having a
And-
nice, relaxing time doing
And
whatever the fuck
nothing.
we're doing, really. Yeah.
And all right, so we're gonna talk a little bit about the Sky Pirates. Liv, this is
yeah.
this is
This
big.
is my shit. For those of you who don't know me, I do have a YouTube channel, and the video that I've been saying I would do for about 9 months now has been the Shadow of Mox storyline. So,
Hey, fun little tidbit, not really related to lore or anything. Did you know that in like this area originally they had to disable jumping?
in the Sky Pirates area?
Yeah, you couldn't jump at first.
Why?
Because people were figuring out ways to jump off the edge. You can now; it's all fixed. But the
That's
first
so
few days,
dumb.
you could not jump up near Leofard's cabin.
I will say I would have never noticed that had you not said something about it.
Well, I think you can now. I think I just did it, but I always was trying to find ways
Yeah.
to get out of bounds and things like
Oh
that.
shit, that's a big moon.
All right, you go ahead and start talking about the Sky Pirates while we see what I end up queuing into because my duty just popped.
All right,
Me
so
pirates.
the Sky Pirates, right? They're fucking rad. That's my hot take. Sky Pirates good. So essentially, Sky Pirates, exactly what they sound like. They are pirates who kind of patrol the skies, looking for treasure, all that fun shit. There are two different main groups that we encounter throughout like the Shadows of Mox storyline. The Red Bills and then the Talons, right? So the Red Bills are the one that we're helping out. They're cool. They're run by this guy named Leofard.
They're the quote unquote good guys.
Yeah, the whole thing is they're the good guys, but they're still mildly sketchy. The Talons are essentially the ones that are kind of against
Hey,
us.
so fun fact, it put me in Robin Oster. So I guess while y'all get to listen to this, you get to see Robin Oster, which still actually has a decent, like, not completely to do with the Sky Pirates, but there's some
There's some
Maquis
interesting
shit here.
We should do an episode on that. Maybe once it has another
We
turn.
will. I'll just record a whole different thing of me running something. So
Yeah.
ignore this.
Well, and we can also go back and record. I can do a Void Arc run too if you want. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Anyways,
No, it's fine. Let's just keep
where
talking.
was I? Right.
You were talking about how there's two groups.
Yeah, so there's Talons. They're fucking. Essentially, they're a lot newer than the Red Bills. How the Red Bills kind of got started, it was Leofard and Stacia. They were both like orphans in Ishgard, right? And they were like, we're gonna become adventurers. So what we're gonna do? So they go out and they find out, wow, we fucking skies they're fucking cool, right? So they decided to become pirates. So that's how they started. The Talons essentially. What the fuck's that girl? Radlia. Her dad was.
Radlia, yeah.
Her dad was like a captain.
Whose spoiler isn't very rad.
Yeah, she's not very rad. Her dad was like captain of mercenary group or something, right? And then she was like, "Hey, you know what would make me a lot more money? Being a pirate." And so she sort of starts. The towns are way newer, but they kind of start like absorbing smaller crews into their crew. So they kind of start making a name for themselves. But how we get involved with the Red Bulls?
Well, first, before we go jump into the Red Bulls, they're the Red Bulls.
The Red Bills.
Oh shit! They give us wings. I want to touch on Leofard because I'm in his chambers right now because I definitely left the shadows
boy, Leofard. I
want to
him.
touch on this portrait that he has, which is technically his mother, not his birth mother.
Yes.
But his adoptive mother from Ishgard.
More or less what happened with Leofard's adoptive mother. Her name's... I'm going to butcher this. Stay with me. Remile? Fuck.
Remile?
Raimille. However the fuck you pronounce that. Ramile. That's Ramile. That's how we're going to pronounce it for the sake of this. Yell at me in the comments if you want. But essentially...
Don't at me.
At me if you want to fight me. She essentially was like, she was highborn, she was a widow, she didn't have a kid, and she was like, hey, you can come and live with me. So she adopts him. And the whole thing is like, she's really sick, right? And she pretty much can't leave the house. And Leofard did what he could to like save her, but she did pass away. And so more or less the portrait in his office chambers is of his late adopted mother. He's a good boy. Leofard's
He's
real good boy. His full name is Leofard Mist, as all like orphans who are born in the Broom, they all have that last name.
Just like our dear departed friend.
He doesn't have that name though.
No, he's Greystone. He's Greystone.
I
thought Greystone was the...
I don't know, honestly, what the difference is between Mr. Greystone. I think it has to do with where you're born.
I think Mist is for bastards, isn't it?
No, Greystone is for bastards. I think Mist is for orphans.
Listen to me getting it wrong this time.
Listen, I don't even know if that's true.
Hey, Sky, remember when I asked if the Alligans were involved with the Void?
Mm-hmm. Guess
what? You think they were? Yeah?
They were.
Oh, shit. What?
Wow.
I would have never guessed. I would have never fucking
very
guessed.
Involved.
It's almost like the Crystal Tower series didn't happen.
Rest in peace, Grahatia.
My boy! The good boy.
As he screams watching the feast matches that are taking place.
He's crying in the background of all the feast matches. If you look close enough, you can see him. Don't worry.
He's there.
But yeah.
So now we can move on to how we get involved. Because I always thought it was really interesting of a tip because they never touch on it in game.
Yeah, they never talk about
portrait.
It. But
they never even talk about the fact that he's from Ishgard.
Yeah. I feel like it can be like vaguely assumed, if only because this all takes place in Heaven's Ward and fucking everyone's from Ishgard and Heaven's Ward. I don't know.
Stasia is not from Ishgard.
Yeah, she is.
Probably. Maybe.
Stacia is?
Shit, yeah, she
they're
is.
Both from, they're both from, her last name is Mist too. They're both from the Broom.
Oh yeah, they both talked about, actually, Stacia talked about being from the Broom in game.
They are, that's essentially how they literally met by chance.
Well, Utata isn't from Ishgard.
Utata is not from Ishgard. I want to say... Fuck, I'm gonna... Hold on. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna look at this. She fucking joined, like, another... The Highwind Skyways? She joined them. And then it was, like, sort of like the Sid's Ironworks type deal. That type of shit. She just met Leofard at a fucking bar.
I almost also called them the Red Bulls.
Yeah, she met them at like a bar and was like, I guess I'll join you. I guess. I don't have anything better to do. She also someday wants to join the Ironworks. Fun fact. That's kind of
I hope she does.
I hope she achieves all her dreams, to be honest. She was so good. But how will we meet them? How do we get involved with the Red Bills in game?
Leofard kills people.
Yeah, pretty much. Essentially, hold on. I'm gonna pull up my fucking script from back in the day. I wrote this like 6 months ago. More or less what happens. We were in Ishgard, right? And someone's like, hey, yo, my cargo's missing. Can you go check it out? It's out, like, Camp Cloud Top. So we go. We're like, all right, they're out.
Clamp Cloud Top.
Camp Cloud Top. There we go. They're like, and we're like, hell yeah, we got you, bro. So we go out there, right? It was like making a weird course. It was going north, and we're like, hey, let's go follow it. Let's go check this shit out. We do, and they're being attacked by sky pirates, right? And we're about to like fuck them up, but then Leofard shows up, and he's like, hey, y'all are shitty sky pirates. I think
you ain't following the code.
Yeah, he's talking about like some weird shit, like you can't harm it. I don't fucking know. He's pissed.
He talked some. Yeah, he was mad, and so he killed 2 people.
Yeah, he kills 2 of
in
them,
front of us.
And then the third one, he's like, "Go tell your leader, like I'm gonna fucking fight you or some shit like that." I don't know. And he's like, "Hey, yo, you're that."
And we
bitch.
were like, "That was sweet."
Yeah, he's like,
we're like, "That was sweet. You just killed 2 dudes."
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh shit, Warrior of Light.
What up?
I was gonna try and hit you up anyways. You want to go hunt some fucking treasure?" This is pretty much what happens. He's just like, "What's up?"
And please remember, we were adventurers before we were the Warrior of Light. So I like to think we were like, oh, fuck yeah. I want to go hunt some treasure.
He does say something in game. Don't quote me on this. He says something akin to like, hey,
don't at me.
You want to like go back to your roots and just go on an adventure that has nothing to do with all this primal bullshit? And we're like,
and we were like, absolutely.
We're like, hell fucking yeah, let's go. So we go to their base, right? And Radlia shows up. I don't know if she says this if you are playing as a male character, but if you play as a female character, she essentially is like, yo, are you fucking Leofard or what?
Yeah, she did say that. I don't know if she says it to a male either. Yeah. But all of us play females.
Yeah.
So
yeah, she's like, you fucking Leofard or what? And we're like, what? And she's like, okay, bye, bitch. That's how they introduce Radlia.
Yeah, and we're like, all right, damn, see you later, I guess. And then they introduce Smug ass eating Leofard,
yeah, pretty much,
who just has the biggest grin on his face.
Something worth remembering is at this point in game, you could essentially we go into his chambers and he's like, hey, you want to go find a ghost ship that you can see around the Sea of Clouds? And the whole thing is, we're like, fuck yeah. The whole thing is, note at this point in the game when this initially came out, you could actually see this ghost ship flying around the Sea of Clouds.
It was randomly in different places.
Yeah, you could like actually see it and people didn't know what the fuck it was. So this is some good...
People would out of bounds do it all the time.
This was good shit, guys. So yeah, he was like, let's go find that fucking ghost ship. I bet your ass that's worth a lot of cash money. And we're like, hell yeah, let's go. Why not? So that's how we get involved with them, was we're literally like, let's go make some fucking bank.
See, I don't remember, and you probably will. How does, I don't want to say the name because I always butcher it. Cat puppet.
Kate Sith?
Get involved. Okay. Yes. Because everyone always tells me it's like Kashi.
You know what? Fuck them. Kate Sith. That's how we're pronouncing it on this, and if you want to at me, do so. My Twitter's in the description.
Sky, how do you pronounce it?
I didn't.
But if you had to pronounce it, how would you pronounce it?
Oh, I think things are getting excited outside. I will cut in post. How would I?
Would you pronounce it Kashi or Ketsa?
I think the way that I would pronounce it now is Ketchi.
Really?
Y'all making me look bad.
That's how it's supposedly supposed to be pronounced.
Would you put Goro in front of that?
Goro Kachi.
But people still say Kate Sith because
they're wrong, and that's why I say it that way.
I'm tired, guys. We're saying it Kate Sith. Now I feel like I should say it Kachi though.
No, I'm gonna say it Kate Sith. So
more or less,
I'll say it Ketchi.
Thanks. One of us has to be right here.
One of us has to appease the YouTube comments.
So how he gets involved is essentially we go into the Void Ark and we're like, fuck yeah, let's make some cash money, and we're going through this place, right? And shit gets real. I'm gonna 1 second, putting my drink down.
Oh yeah, it gets super real right at the end, doesn't it? We're just because I remember Radia shows up too.
Yeah, we're having our time. We're going through some bullshit, having some fun, and then shit gets real. More or less. There are other like interesting bosses in this. Fuck, I don't know how to say this. Cthulhu, maybe
Cahulin?
Cahulin, there we go.
Yeah, it's Cahulin.
He's in there.
Cuchulainn.
He was actually
Cuchulainn.
there's no like real like we don't really know where he's from, but the lore book says he more or less was like a champion who wielded aura sights to conquer their planes.
He was a warrior of light.
Yeah, he was like a warrior of light
from yeah, he's a warrior of light from Unukalhai's plane.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, so
it's implied all of the bosses in there after Unukalhai's storyline.
They were
all of the bosses were all warriors of light who became essentially addicted to Auracite.
Yep. Pretty much. It also the Auracite that guy had essentially bled primal energies. So it every time that they won, they changed a little bit. Until they just had like an insatiable appetite and all that fun shit, and were hungry for ether, went to war, killed their star.
They had a rumbling in their tongue.
Essentially,
that there Auracite.
Yeah, pretty much. So there was that guy. Echidna was there too.
Knuckles
was there. So
showing him the way.
Echidna. Oh my God, no! We're not having that on our podcast.
Here now.
No, it's not. I'm not a fan of that meme. I'll fight about it. So more or less, Echidna was actually summoned to the Void Ark by the Machi, the boys.
Yeah, the Mach.
And more or less, the whole thing is okay. We're gonna skip back in time a little bit. The Mach back in the day, the whole thing with the Void Ark is it was created to try and avoid the Great Flood that ended the Fifth Astral Era, right? Because the Machi and the Amdapor people, they got pissed at each other and they had a war, pretty much. And that's what all started this whole fucking bullshit. So Echidna was summoned into the Void Ark, and more or less the reason why there's no other actual people on the Void Ark is because they fucked up real bad. And if I remember right, more or less the deal is that all the people that were on the Void Ark got turned into Void Scents?
The Void Scent,
if I'm not incorrect,
they escaped their bond, if I recall.
Oh, yeah, and they kill everyone.
Basically killed everyone.
Yeah, and so the reason Cait Sith...
Because remember, they made, Cait Sith talks about how they made pacts with the Void Scent.
Well, because the whole thing is, Cait Sith shows up because he was essentially the guardian of this place. I'm going back to this. And that's why the whole thing is the Nullstone is a big point of reference in this whole fucking storyline. It's essentially what the Mach used to control Void Scents.
Also, do remember, the Mach were not very good people.
Yeah, no, they were fucking wild.
They're the reason that Tonberries exist, first of all. Because they unleashed that green death. Which, that was cool, I guess. Good job.
Thanks, Machi boys.
So they're kind of, with the Void Ark, they're kind of reaping.
Yeah, that's, the whole thing is, they had this bullshit coming for a hot minute. So yeah, Cait Sith is like, hey yo, my master made this fucking Nullstone shit and can control the Void Scent. We need to get it before they get it, because the whole thing is, at the end of Void Ark, Diabolos, he shows up. Diabolos. There we go. He shows up and he opens up a portal in the sky, because at the end of Void Ark, we find this massive coffin, and we're like, yo, we should check that out. It's probably worth a lot of money. It wasn't. Spoiler. It wouldn't be. But we're gonna check it out.
What was in it stopped existing.
Yeah.
So we can't sell it.
That's true. That's a good point. But so we go check it out, and he shows up, and he's like, hey, peace, bitch. And he opens a portal in the sky and takes the coffin with him. And then we gotta run because the ship is like exploding or some shit. So
it was some actual action.
Yeah, it was pretty lit.
It was pretty cool. So
Cait Sith just comes with us. He's like, hey, I'm here now. Also, I found this in my notes. Worth noting how we find the ship. Utata, the engineer we were talking about earlier, she has this ecto compass, which...
Didn't she get kidnapped or it got stolen?
Yeah, that happens later. More or less, she's like, hey, I have this ecto compass. We should use it. Because at the time, they think that it tracks the ship itself, like the ether signature that it lets off. What it actually is pointing towards, it's like the strongest void sent energy present.
I believe it's pointing towards Skathek or if I
maybe
no Skathek or Diabolo.
One of the two. It's not actually pointing towards the ship. It's so because then we use it again later on in the thing, and that's how we get to the Weeping City of Mach. That's how we end up there. Is we're following. Actually, no. Wait, we're not. Okay, we're sort of doing that. Yeah, let's. Okay, so we covered everything for how Kate Sith got here. He's a good boy.
That's how he and Leofard butt heads.
Yeah, they don't get along at all. Fun fact though, he was initially just a regular cat that the Maki Caesar found and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna make you my cat now."
Ta-da. Also, you never see or hear too much about his master. Her master? Is Kate Sith a girl or a boy?
You know, we're gonna use masculine pronouns, I feel like, for the sake of this.
You never learn or see too much about his master. In the lore book, there's a photo of her.
There is. There's also a photo of
she's beautiful.
This is totally unrelated. There's a photo of Alfino's dad in there. And Alice. I love Alice, I swear, but yeah, their dad is in there.
So their models exist, which Alfino and Alize's dad, again, side note, Alfino and Alize's dad, I feel like maybe we'll see it.
Yeah.
We're never going to see this woman. Like, she's not, and like, she's not relevant anymore. And again, they don't relegate plot points from the side stuff
into the main story. Theoretically, I feel like they could include her. Maybe.
Someone modeled that knowing full well it would only be shown in a picture in the lore book.
And you know what?
Right?
God.
To be fair, she's wearing Edda's dress.
Yeah, they're so valid. Whoever did that, you're valid.
Yeah, you're valid, and we love you. And thank you. You are valid.
Hot take 2. Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. Something about Alfino and Alice's dad. Fuck him. He's an asshole. There we go. Sure.
Yeah, he's not very.
I don't think that was what I was going to say, but
We'll do an episode on Charlotte.
Oh, hell.
Because I can talk about that for a long time.
Hell yeah. Alright.
But right now, we're talking about pirates and Mach.
Yeah, so, we do that shit, and then Leofard's like, wow, that was fucking wild. We'll let you know if anything else happens. See you later. That's essentially what happens. They're like, okay, bye, have fun doing whatever the fuck the Warrior of Light does, I guess.
And of course, realistically, we can assume it's like a few weeks before we hear.
Yeah, in terms of...
Since time moves in a bubble, this game.
Yeah. I refuse to acknowledge that. I think it's dumb how time moves, but for the sake of this, like, a little bit of time passes, and then they hit us up again, and they're like...
I definitely don't think it took half a year, like, the patch, like, to get there. Because we would have all been dead by then.
Yeah, it would have been a little bit of a problem. So...
Like, there would have been a little bit of an issue. Not much,
Yeah,
just,
Skathek would have probably gotten free, NBD.
Don't worry about that.
Oh, yeah.
So is that about when we get to the Weeping City?
Yes. Also worth knowing, found in my notes, the reason why all the black mages on the ship aren't there is, they decided Skathek got free because they were like, yeah, we can totally control the fucking Shadow Queen, NBD. She gets free, and then they give up their lives to rebind her and, like, all the other Void Sent, and so that's why he's the only one there. And then nothing happened for 1,500 years. And then we fucked it up, essentially.
Yeah, we kind of fucked it up. But honestly, we kind of fucked it up by getting the null. Like, that...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I say that, but the floodwaters would have descended on their own eventually.
Yeah, I guess.
I think that's getting into Weeping City, because I believe the Nullstones...
Weeping City. Yeah, so the reason why we're going to... Weeping City, more or less. Fuck, I'm doing my best because I don't have notes on this shit now.
No, it's fine.
We're past the point where I have notes.
I have a little bit on it. Basically, we needed to get the Nullstone before and the floodwaters that they had hoped would deny any Void Sent access to it were very slowly starting to recede. So we were on a little bit of a time crunch to go essentially beat Diabolos to getting the null, which I believe, don't at me, I believe he wanted to use to either fuse with or awaken Scathic. One of the two.
Maybe? I don't fucking know.
Remember,
the fucking tagline of this thing, we don't know what
we're doing.
Neither do you. No one knows what the fuck's happening here.
What do you remember about Weeping City, Sky?
I remember hating my time there because I had to run it too much.
That's fair.
That's
what I remember. I remember there was a cool moment where after the spider woman, you jump into the river.
Yeah. That's also
that was cool. I also liked that throughout the entire raid you could see Ozma.
That's true.
I agree.
Up until you got to Ozma.
Following Vordark, isn't that when Radlia took Utatu's compass?
Yeah, Radlia gets the compass.
She took her men there essentially and just fucked herself.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Pretty much.
Basically fucked herself.
Yeah, so more or less the whole thing is the Talons get a hold of the ecto compass. I kind of forget the details. But yeah, more or less she gets it.
We follow them with
the whole
I just glanced at my notes that I took after Kate Sith realizes that we're in the Yafim Salt.
Yeah.
Kate Sith is the one who's like, oh, they're going after the Null.
Yeah. Well, more or less what Leofard like puts a link pearl inside of the ecto compass just so he can hear what they're saying. So he's like, we don't fucking need that. We just gotta know where they're going.
Yeah, Leofard's smart.
He's a good boy.
Smart.
Listen, I love Leofard dearly.
And I also did note that Leofard, like, he didn't even care about the bad blood between him and Radlia. He mostly just wanted to go on this adventure.
Yeah.
And was like, hell yeah, let's go to the Weeping City.
He's doing it for.
So we went to the swamp.
He's doing it for the like and the adrenaline rush.
Yeah, like let's not make any qualms here. Leofard is not a good person.
Yeah, no, he's not a good boy.
He's a good character, but he's not a good person.
Yeah, he's like Radlia, don't give a shit. Bye, bitch. But yeah, so we go over to we find the Talons like at the entrance or whatever, and they're like, yeah, Radley is fucking somewhere in there. We don't really know where she went, but she's in there somewhere. So we're like,
and I believe they are the only ones we see alive.
Yeah,
and then all the other ones are used basically as bait.
Yeah, they're all dead by the end of it.
I want to say, I don't know. Ferdinand is in.
No, he's in this. Ferdinand's there.
Is Ferdinand the?
He's the.
No, he's in what do you call it? He's at the end, like way at.
Oh yeah, are you sure?
I'm thinking of the boy sitting on the ball.
I'm pretty sure Ferdinand's there.
Forgal is his name. Ferdinand is the boss in Dune Sky. He's not
the boss. Yeah, you right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking of Forgal. I was thinking of Ball
Boy, goddammit.
Because he's before Ozma.
Yeah.
He was the one where everybody wiped for a really
long time. Yeah, Megadeth. Remember that bullshit? Remember that shit week Megadeth. 1? God.
I wish I didn't, but I do remember Megadeth. People still wipe to it.
Remember Ozma week 1? I remember this is somewhat on topic. For my first ever clear of Weeping City, I had been in it already, and some of my friends were like, hey yo, this alliance seems pretty alright. A healer just dropped. You should join in progress. So I did. And I essentially I had cleared Ozma before. So I walked this entire fucking alliance through Ozma, and you know what? We cleared within like 20 minutes. It was beautiful. It was the best thing I've seen in my life, and I still think about it to this day. I got all the comms in that party. It was great. I'm good at this game, guys.
We should talk about Ozma, because Ozma itself is basically a defense mechanism that they made.
Ozma is weird.
He's a good one if you think about it. Like, he does his job.
Ozma fucking did a good job, man.
Yeah, if we were not the Warriors of Light, we would not beat Ozma.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the fact that you notice there are no more Talons past the point of Forgel and Ozma,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the amount of void scent past Ozma is very, very small.
Yeah.
I believe we have our final boss after Ozma.
Yeah, there's a little bit
Then-
more trash mobs, and then it's Ozma.
Yeah, and then we have what's her name?
The final boss,
Califasteri?
yes. And Califasteri is actually really interesting, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Because there's more to say on Ozma. Ozma essentially acts as like a prison and almost as like a viewing chamber for the Machi of things that they have conquered. It's very weird because that's why when you go inside of it, there's like a whole realm in there. And it's very odd. I'm trying.
Well, isn't it supposed to be of like the things that Ozma is actually like eaten?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
And like they can, that's
Yeah.
kind of why there are those platforms around it. From my understanding, is it's kind of like a viewing platform. They can go and see all this shit that they've conquered. It's sort of like we were talking about it in the last episode on like etherochemical. It's that same idea.
It seems to be like a regular thing with these very boastful society. And trust me, the mages were
Yes.
like, they did not think they were going to lose. That's
Oh, no.
why they were okay making pacts with the void. They did not think they were going to lose anything by doing
Yeah.
so.
Well, that's why they summoned the fucking Shadow Queen. They were like, we can handle it. It'll be fine. And it's like, bitch, nah. Bitch, nah.
Where?
So yeah, also
So do you want to go? Do you want to move on to Califasteri, because you know more about her than I do then, because all I know is she was another security mechanism, I believe.
so
for the Nullstone?
Yes and no. Califasteri was actually initially a Machi mage. Who used the Nullstone. I'm trying to flip through this because I know others. I was looking at it earlier. Califasteri used the Nullstone and like some ether fucking infused crystals and like ritually consumed void scent blood and all this shit to become immortal and also sort of a void scent in herself. She's not quite a void scent, but not quite whatever race the Machi were, probably here, but whatever, we don't know.
I believe they were here. The Nimians were all essentially what we assumed. I believe the Machi.
Yeah.
Don't act.
Don't add us. We're doing our best. So yeah, more or less, Califasteri is not quite either, but pretty much acts to guard the Nullstone from anyone who might try to destroy it. So that's what she's there for. That's why we have to kill her in order to actually get the Nullstone. Which is a fucking wild time in itself. It was also a way to preserve themselves. And the city of Mach should, like, the pact between the Void Scent and the Machi ever be kind of broken.
Not that they ever thought that would
Yeah,
happen.
it was like, we probably won't ever actually have to use it. That was kind of the bullshit they were thinking.
To their credit, and to the Allegans' not credit, they had a lot more fail-safes than the Allegans
That
did.
is very true.
Because, I mean, I know Dune Sky itself was basically a fail-safe for the Void Arc. So it's like, it was a fail-safe of a fail-safe, essentially.
It was, I'm not sure if it was. I think it was like they just had two different factions.
Maybe.
If I remember right, that were working toward
Perhaps.
that.
That might be true. That might be it. But still, that's more of a, like, splitting your differences than the Allegans.
Yeah.
The Allegans were just like, I don't
'Cause they
know,
had-
we'll just stay here.
Yeah,
They
still
had a
more than
number
they
of
did.
different groups working towards the salvation of their civilization, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Like, kind of worked because one of them did survive. I just don't remember which one. It was the people that fled north into the mountains.
Yeah.
They survived because people were just like, oh, there's gonna be water. Let's just go up.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, and that's how.
Why do we need to make this thing that's as complicated as could possibly be when there are mountains right over there?
Yeah.
Why did we need to
worry
make a
about it.
flying ship? What the fuck are you guys that we bind demons to escape waters when we can just climb a fucking hill?
Because one of them is way more cash money cool.
Yeah, pretty
Like
much.
fuck.
Like,
That's
what
basically what
doing, fam?
happened.
It is basically exactly what happened.
It's
like, hey,
it was so unnecessary.
Well, that's how essentially black mages exist now, because they were like, hey, let's maybe not do that. That's why thaumaturgy exists and shit, because some of them were smart. Some of them.
some. Keyword some. And I think that pretty much that covers it for Weeping City, doesn't it? Because we end up getting the Nullstone stolen from us by Bird.
Someone
And
takes it. Give me a second. I'm reading.
Ferdinand McJester.
It's
is the
not.
guy
We
that's
have
there.
it for a little bit.
Yeah.
We do keep it. And Kate Sith is like, hey, I'm gonna figure this out.
Well, I know Ferdinand threatens Radlia.
Yes.
And we're like, fuck, fine, I guess.
Well, more or less what happens is later on, they're like, hey, come back in another few weeks and we'll figure some shit out. More or less, if I remember right, Diabolos shows up and is like, hey, we're gonna fucking take this now, bye. Am I right on that?
Might be. I know that Ferdinand shows up. Here's my notes. Ferdinand shows up. He has Radley as a hostage and demanded the Nullstone. But Leofard. Oh no, yeah, Leofard called his bluff because Leofard was like,
because that's at
I
the
don't
end.
care.
That's at the end of Weeping City.
And Kate Sith used the Nullstone.
Yeah.
And got him to fuck off. They did keep the Nullstone, right? They kept it, and then that's when we got the hey, give us a little bit of time. Please look forward to it.
Yeah.
The patch isn't out yet.
And then, yeah, so we fucking do that shit. We have it. I don't really remember how we get to Dune Scaith.
We end up going to Dune Sky. It's Dune Sky.
Whatever. I'm doing my best here. I'm living my life.
I don't fully remember how we end up going to Dune Sky to you at all. I don't remember why we go there.
I'm not on 14 right now. Otherwise, I would just look at the journal real quick.
I know we're headed there to stop Diabolos from
I am right. So more or less what happens is Diabolos shows up at it's called the Perrick, where the Red Bills.
Yeah, he
shows up there, and he does steal the Nullstone. And so then he's going like, hey, peace out, bitch. And he goes over to Dune Sky to revive Skothic.
He shows up to our house and is like, hey-o, It's me.
Yeah, so he shows up and he's like, hey, bitch. Takes the Nullstone, and more or less they go to Dune Sky, and we're like, hey, let's fucking follow. And the whole thing is that we haven't touched on, Radlia has like this book that pretty much it talks about like the Nullstone and the Void Ark, and also mentions Dune Sky.
It is how we learned of
that's how we know sort of where to go and where to check out. Also note, Leofard got really, really hurt when Diabolos showed up at the Perrick.
So he had to stay back.
Yeah, they were pretty much like, bitch, you stay here. Yeah, he gets pretty mad about it. He's pretty salty. He's like, what the fuck do you mean I can't come to Dune Sky? And everyone's like, that's a horrible idea.
So fun little void, I mean, again, the void is all connected to Nukal Helishard, where everybody was the warrior, like a warrior of light, essentially. Like the big void monsters were essentially warriors of light. So fun little fact that I wrote down was that Dune Sky, which is also called the Fortress of Shadows in Irish mythology, is the home to the warrior woman Skothic, who trains Hulin. So
interesting.
It's very possible that Skothic was the trainer of Cahulin and a bunch of the other warriors of light and things like that, which I think is super interesting.
That's actually really cool. I was not aware of this. Interesting.
Yeah.
Valley.
I mean, we already know that Koji and Oda love to pull from real world mythology.
Yeah.
And with that connection of all of them having been originally what we are now, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it does not surprise me all that much to hear, but that is very interesting.
Very interesting.
So, yeah.
Nice little, it's a nice little touch, even if it's not, like, correct.
Yeah. So more or less, we get there. We're like, hey, we're gonna fuck some shit up. Fun fact, you can also, if you have the quest, if more or less what has to happen if at least one person has the quest active for it, Ultima Prototype, I think it is. A version of Ultima can show up here.
Way later, though. That was added in after,
yeah, but it's Proto-Ultima.
But
it's worth noting is that,
it's pretty interesting.
The logic behind that is that essentially Proto-Ultima was drawn there by the strong presence of Void Scent, and that's why you fight Proto-Ultima there. Not really related to the Sky Pirates story or the Shadows of Mach in general, but it's worth noting. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, he was kind of an afterthought.
Yeah.
He was put in because people were upset that he was a fight for only events like FanFest and things like that.
Yeah, people were like, give us Proto-Ultima.
Yeah, and so they just kind of threw him in there.
Which I don't know if that was a better idea, though, because people were still really mad about it.
Well,
Who does he replace? He replaces the Succubi.
Yeah.
Which honestly wasn't that remarkable of a fight anyway.
No.
At least Proto-Ultima is like,
he does
iconic.
show up no matter what.
Oh, he does?
Yes.
Interesting.
You don't have to have the quest. The other. So it's very possible, honestly, that one was a placeholder, and they had planned for it for a while, because that fight in itself also was maybe one of the uninspired fights I've seen in a race.
Yeah, it was boring.
Even for trash, it was pretty like, you sure about that?
Yeah, that doesn't make me mad that it did not make me upset that it disappeared into the void. I was like,
no,
okay.
I see what you did there.
Oh, whoa. Fun fact, that was not intentional, but, YOLO.
So I believe the first fight that we have is Death Gaze, who is, he's a Void Scent, right?
Yeah, he's kind of there. He's doing his best.
So he's trying to stop us from getting there, because some of the things, no, I don't think so, actually. I was going to say some of the things we fight in Dune Sky, I think, are Maki, safeguards, but I think it's all Void.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure at this point it's just overall Void Scent, because besides from Proto-Ultima, the bosses are Ferdinand, Scathach, and Diabolo.
Yep.
Which would make them all Void. So, I mean, Death Gaze isn't anything.
Yeah, to be honest, there's not a ton to Death Gaze. Death Gaze is there, but
Ferdinand I thought was really cool, because again, we originally saw him in Amdapor Heap, and then you had that giggle at the end, which means he was coming back.
Ferdinand was actually essentially kind of a lesser noble in terms of the ranking. There's a whole ranking of Void Scent. But he was actually initially summoned to join the assault on Amdapor, and then later got free and did his own fucking bullshit out in the world. So
I believe also this makes him one of the few along with Regulus, the few connecting tissues between MSQ
and side story.
And side stories, big ones.
Well, because if you didn't do this side story in your Eorzea version, if you didn't do this, Ferdinand dies there at Amdapor, and /Or survives and just fucks off for the rest of the time.
Another fun fact, he was in Irish mythology, Ferdinand, a friend and rival of Cullen. So they definitely did this on purpose, where they were purposely taking from this mythology, especially learning, as you do Triad, again, that they're all Void Scent, and the Void was created from Shard that was over darkness, etc.
Yep.
This was all done.
Oh yeah.
So Scathach, while as a Void Scent, as a Void Scent, maybe the quote unquote queen, it's very possible that it was simply the highest ranking light.
Oh yeah.
When they were humans or whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm. Sky, what's your take?
I think I've talked about this thing with I think Harry actually, where we were like, why are there multiple queens? And it's that, well, it could be just a rank I guess. Like, it could just be a title that they give themselves, because they clearly don't have... They have hierarchy.
But they don't really have a...
But they don't have rulers, and it's more like pocket, like groups of void scent that just flock to more powerful void scent.
Yeah.
And, you know, just because there's, you know, a queen here and a queen over there doesn't mean that they're necessarily the queen of all void scent.
Yeah.
So it's very... I also thought of it as like, it could just be like a denotation of how powerful the void scent is.
Pretty much, actually. That's why
yeah.
it's like she's essentially sort of either on the rank of like Cloud of Darkness, if I remember correctly. They're sort of... But it's also worth noting that the void scent don't really categorize themselves so much like this, as it is Eorzeans trying to make sense of it. But like, Skothic
like, this is definitely us.
Skothic still does have like a certain amount of like power over them. It's very weird, and it's not really well defined. Essentially, all we are able to really categorize them as is how the Eorzeans do it, but even they're kind of like, we don't fucking know what the Void Center are doing. They're doing their bullshit out in the world.
They're doing shit. We don't.
Like how we categorize dragons in some shit we really don't know.
Yeah.
At
least we can ask the dragon. I don't think the Void Scents are
yeah, I don't think they're gonna
chat.
be like, hey, yeah, bitch, let's talk. Nah, they're gonna be like, hey, fuck, who the fuck are you?
Like, hey, fuck, like,
I'm really hungry, and you have a lot of aether.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yum, 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 gimme.
It's like
yeah,
you're looking.
They're not.
It's like, hey, you're out here looking like a snack.
I was about to say, you out here looking like a snack. We touched on Proto Ultima. I don't think we got to go.
Yeah, he's really not relevant to the whole Shadows of Mox storyline.
He's just not. Like I said, he was kind of an afterthought.
Yeah, he's there, but only because he's like, hey, I heard there's some ether here, and then he fucks off.
Yum yum.
We kill him.
And Skathic's fight is, if you don't look at your duty list, played off to try and be like, they want you to think it's the final boss guy, because they want you to think that she's the queen, the big bad. Again, if you don't look at if we didn't have a duty list, I guarantee you most people assume the Skathic is our final boss guy.
Yeah.
She's very much childlike. I'm not sure if that's they designed her that way on purpose. I'm not talking about just her design. The fact that she makes chimeras based on stuffed animals and things like that. Like, I don't know if you also noticed, and the puppets that
Skothic.
don't really. What do we know too much about her? Is there anything interesting about her in the book?
I actually, someone can yell at me if I'm wrong. She is not, as far as I can tell, mentioned in the lore book. I don't know if that's because of... I think that might have to do with when this book came out, though. I'm pretty sure it came out before...
It came out before Dune Sky.
Yeah, so I have a feeling it's because of that.
She'll be in the next one.
Yeah, she's... I wish we had more information about her, but essentially...
I do too, because all we know is that
she's the queen of the Void Scent.
She looks kind of like a child, queen of the Void Scent, makes puppets. And then when we kill her, Diabolos just decides you out here looking like a snack.
Yeah, Diabolos is like, hey, fuck you. That's essentially what he says. And he's having a time. He summons doors like he does in his fight from whatever... what's his dungeon that he's in beforehand?
Lost City of Amdapor?
That one.
I think it's Amdapor. No. Which one's one of them is Amdapor Keep, and one of the Lost City of Amdapor is Diabolos. And Amdapor Keep is...
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's in the actual city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's, well, it's worth noting Diabolos...
And then we accidentally freed him.
Diabolos was initially summoned for the same reason as a lot of the Void Scent that we see. He was summoned to fight Amdapor, and so that's why we find him in the city. He was there having a time, and then we free him, and then he goes and does this fucking bullshit.
Yeah, so Diabolos and Ferdinand are the two that we encounter in A Realm Reborn, and then again in Heaven's Court. But do we really count the Lost City and things like that? Was that main scenario, or was that side quest?
I don't really remember, to be honest.
I don't remember either.
I feel like one of them
Nobody
was
at me.
mains. I can Google it real quick. The Lost City of Amdapur. Was that main story? I don't think it was.
I don't think either of them. I think both of them were side. Yes, both of them were side quests.
So you technically
but
don't have to do either of these.
Yeah, so technically you could play 14 and never.
Yeah.
But you would.
Because these are both good side quests.
This was. I'm pretty sure it's near unanimous that the 24 man.
Honestly, this is slightly off topic. Shadows of Mach has thus far been my favorite 24-man series, although I did love the Crystal Tower series.
Yeah, I really liked Crystal Tower, but something about Shadows of Mach.
I fucking like Sky Pirates.
Sick of Crystal Tower by the end of light farming.
See, I think that's the problem is you have to
Circus Tower was the best. Circus Tower was the best way to farm light.
It was. I know. I was there.
And it was bad.
But I end up having to disassociate story how much I hate some of the content because I have to a million times.
But yeah, it's worth noting the end of Dune Skaith. Remember how we said, Leofard, you gotta fucking sit this one out, you're dying. Yeah.
He's like, no.
Yeah, he's like, hey, fuck you though. So the whole thing is we quote unquote beat Leofard. We quote unquote beat Diabolos, but then turns out he's not dead. So he comes to fucking kill us, and he like has the Null Stone at this point and shit. And Leofard essentially fucking shows up and like crashes a ship into him or something. And
it works.
Yeah, it works. He essentially he helps you kill Diabolos because essentially he gives enough time for Kate Sith to like get the Null Stone and use it on Diabolos. Because the Null Stone not only controls Void Sent and can also like banish them back into the Void. So he does that. And we get mad at Leofard for fucking up what we said to do, but we're also like, hey, thanks for making sure we don't die though, I guess.
Like, you're dumb, but thank you.
It's like, you shouldn't have done that, but glad you did do that, because it was bad. And so, Leofard's like, hey, that's fucking lit. Also worth noting, the ship that he loses his airship in this whole thing, the Ramil, which is named after his dead mom.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you were paying attention, pop quiz, named after his mom. He's a mama's boy.
He is. He's a good boy. He's a bad person, but he's a good boy.
Yeah, he's not a good person, but he's a good boy.
So,
if you get me.
And that's the end of Sky Pirates.
Pirates.
Essentially, they do kind of leave it open because they're like, hey, maybe we'll do this again sometime. Maybe.
Yoshida has also very much said that he would like to return to the Sky Pirates, which a lot of people would like.
I love the Sky Pirates.
A lot of people became very attached to Leofard and looks at smudge on my hand because I can't remember her name. Stacia.
Well, even Radlia, I feel like Radlia is a villain, but she's also very charming. In a very specific way. I would love them to come back to the Sky Pirates. It's one of my favorite storylines in the game. I think it's really fun. It's an interesting return in the context of the Warrior of Light. It's a really interesting return back to being an adventurer, even if you do get involved in all this Void Sent bullshit that's maybe a little...
That's not why we did it originally. It's not like an Omega thing, like, oh, fuck, gotta save the world again.
Yeah, it's sort of like maybe you're a little out of your depth for just a normal adventure, but it's not related to your fucking... It's not related to the Scions, and it's not related to killing primals. It's literally, you're just like, hey, I want to go have some fun, and these Sky Pirates seem pretty cool.
I want to go plunder some treasure.
Yeah. It's sort of like, this is a little off topic, but I think it's 4.2, the most recent, or one of the more recent patches, Arenvald's like, hey, bitch, remember how we're adventurers? Let's go fucking find some treasure.
It was 4.1.
4.1.
And that's when we went under, what do you call it?
We go under Allegan, Jesus. We go under Alamigo and find that. That's all off topic, but it's the same kind of deal. Like, you just want to be, we started as adventurers.
People realize that adventures, and Arnvald realized that. He was like, he even said, like, you were an adventurer.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you want to go find some treasure, bitch? And we were like, hell fucking
and if your answer
yeah.
if your answer was not hell yeah, then
Yeah, you're incorrect. What else do we want to talk about with the Sky Pirates? I feel like we covered a lot.
I think that's it. I think we covered
Hey,
everything.
Sky, what are your hot takes about this whole thing?
Sky, what are your hot takes on the Sky Pirates?
Oh, whoa.
I think they need to get a new name.
No, it's fine.
I, for the most part, I liked it. I like the whole arc. I think Mock is probably my least favorite.
Really?
Out of all of it.
Oh, out of the three?
If only because of how often I ran it.
That's fair.
I agree. Actually.
Honestly, I just got bored of it.
I think Dune Sky was my favorite.
Same.
And Dune Sky was like, it was cool. I mean, you're going to a friggin' abandoned floating city full of demons. And
do you remember everybody being like, I want to have an apartment?
the fucking
Yeah.
And the fucking fight, the final fight is a Dragon Ball fight. Like, come on, there's a beam struggle. There's a beam struggle.
There is a beam struggle.
And he had a "this isn't even my final form" thing going.
I feel like that was trying to lead us up to what was one of the most Dragon Ball of fights, which was Susano.
Yeah.
Susano's
I remember when that first came out, the whole, when Dune Sky came out, on my phone during that whole beam struggle, I took a video and I sent it to my friend who really loves Dragon Ball, and I was like, hey, you should play 14. There's a Dragon Ball fight now.
That's why I was freaking out when Nest did the video on Dune Sky, and they're just like, is this a beam struggle? Oh my god, it's a beam struggle.
Yeah, God,
so
I
good.
forgot Nest videos
That's
exist.
like literally that was mine and Creed's reaction when we were
same.
for the first time. It's like, oh my god, this is the coolest fight ever.
This reminds me that I need to
It was really good.
I need to go check if there's new Nest videos, because those are my shit. Those are good. That's good content.
I love that Tate's in them now. Shout out.
Is he?
Golden Tot.
Tate's
yeah,
in them?
he's a main raider with them.
He
now.
is?
With them now.
He's a little bitch. Love you, Tate. You're never gonna hear this.
At Tate, if you watch this, you good. I'm proud of you.
Here.
I'm very proud.
I think that's it. I think
done. My final. Okay, Cinna, what's your final take of this? Sky gave his.
My final take is that I hope they come back, and I hope we get to go adventure. I know it won't be in 4.0, but
eventually.
I want it to be
I have a similar hot take. Yeah,
they'll come back.
I think they will. My hot take. Leofard is one of my favorite characters in the game. He's not a good person, but he's interesting. And he's honestly just really fucking fun to hang out with. I was like, yeah, I want to go to bar with this guy. Something I just remembered, they all can like show up, I think in the Drowning Wench or the Forgotten Knight, one of the two. They can just show up randomly. It's the Forgotten Knight. They can just appear sometimes after you finish the whole quest line. They'll occasionally appear there.
Yep, they'll just kind of show up.
Because they would hang out at the Forgotten Knight. But yeah, they're really, I love the Sky Pirates. I know I mentioned at the beginning. I will finish that video on Sky Pirates just because it's my favorite. It's really fun.
It's good.
I feel like really encompassed the tone of Heaven's Ward. It was somewhat serious, but also kind of like, hey, let's go fucking travel around. Let's have a time.
I feel like it also went back to that Final Fantasy root, just being fun.
Yeah.
For fun's sake.
It was a fun quest line. It had kind of this air of like, yes, it got serious towards the end, but it didn't start out that way. It started out like, hey, let's go let's get some treasure, bitch. I will always rave and rant about the Sky Pirates storyline and how much I like it.
Oh yeah.
If you ever meet me in person, just be like, hey, Ostara, what's your opinion on Sky Pirates? And I'll be like, and I'll cry. I'll just burst into tears. Yeah, I'll be at What in the Lore will be at FanFest apparently. So, God, hey, we should do a What in the Lore podcast while we're at FanFest.
Hell yeah,
let's do it. That's officially happening, guys. Hold us to this.
Oh.
Sky will be a guest probably.
Sky just went. Oh.
So yeah, I think we're good.
Start.
All right, Sky, why don't you start? You're the guest.
Okay, so first,
I
just want to say this.
Okay.
Catch these little feeties. Look at his little feeties. They're adorable. I love them.
No.
No, look at it. They're so cute. They fucking he does the Mr. Krabs walk.
I mean, you're valid, but
Yeah.
Like, you know.
I don't know what
Anyway,
I expected. Say goodbye, Sky. We love you dearly, but
goodbye, Sky. We love you dearly, but
My God.
ugh.
I'm Cinna.
And I'm Ostara. Remember, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah,
Sloppy.